Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Video Game Fight School channel. So today I want to put forward a hypothesis on how Batman, in quote, dies in Gotham Knights. Now, if you guys watched my last video, I actually mentioned that I've been trying to piece together some of the potential timelines that Warner Brothers Games Montreal's writers may be using to construct the timeline for Gotham Knights, the game. And we talked about how, the preview to the game starts off with this explosion that Batman is in. And, I basically hypothesized that that explosion could be this particular explosion, which was caused by a series of events. So in this video, I'll go ahead and basically unveil a little bit more. I don't want to do too many spoilers, but we're trying to theorize about a video game that's not out yet. So I think we may have slight liberties to be able to spoil a few other material to try to get to where the timeline is coming from for this video game. So I just justified spoiling this stuff. Anyways, let's get into it and let's kind of see where all of this stuff is coming from, because I feel like it's really interesting. So I've taken a little bit of time to start digging through the comics, and I've tried my best to blur out a lot of the images that you're going to see here, the text and all that. Let me add a little bit more blur while I'm talking. But what I've realized here is this particular so-called explosion that, kills Batman is an explosion that, basically, and I say kills in quotes, it's one that he actually does escape from. But before then, it's an investigation of the Court of Owls that leads him even into this so-called situation. He's investigating the Court of Owls. He finds out that there's a tie to them and his family. Actually, that's actually the storyline. And in his own investigation, he's actually doing this investigation with Alfred on the comms. Something happens, he trips a wire, and boom, the explosion happens. But the deal is, the explosion actually, is basically one of those that is born of surprise. And there are a few things that he does mention in this particular comic. This is the fun part about Snyder's writing is he mentions a lot of elements that, an event like this is supposed to trigger. And the event basically is that fear is one of the biggest, reasons that an event like this would have ever even occurred, because that's basically what he's saying that the Court of Owls want to do. They want to use fear to manipulate the situation. So the Court of Owls are not going to be kind of your ordinary villains. They're supposed to be villains that do have some sort of an eerie aspect to them. If you go back and even look at the trailer, when they actually, pop them out, I mean, it's one of the most interesting things that you've seen in a video game. And for a Batman game to take a dark turn like this, I mean, it's actually really, breathtaking in a sense. Artistically, from a story and a concept perspective, I really can tell you that I really enjoyed the last reveal of the Court of Owls in this particular trailer. But nonetheless, I think here is pretty much where it then goes to after this so-called explosion that is supposedly, I'm hypothesizing, that's supposedly designed to destroy or kill the Batman. He doesn't die from it. He basically escapes and is able to get away from the situation. And this is the storyline of the 52 comics with Scott Snyder. But then other things happen and he reunites with, and we're not going to do that. He reunites with the Bat family. And this is where things basically, start to take a turn. Now, here is my major hypothesis as to not only how he, in quote, died, but what timeline this game is going to happen in. I think that timeline is from the time that they think he's dead to when he reunites with the Bat family kids. That's Nightwing and Red Hood and Batgirl. I think that's the window that this game is going to be thrown in. And I think this is where Warner Brothers Games Montreal is going to be writing their story from. Now, I may be wrong, but I don't see any other window where this is possible to actually write within and still maintain some level of what the bad guys or the villains are, or some level of, say, what the entire storyline regarding the Court of Owls will be, because I think it's time for us to come to the place where we are actually taking the Court of Owls as kind of the major villain group. And yes, even still, they wanted to use some very unique villain groups, and they also allude to 52, even the GCPD here in the trailer when he's talking to Barbara. Let me look for that little. There it is. He says even the GCPD, since Jim died, we can't trust them anymore. So most likely the villain group is going to be the GCPD. That's what he's basically referring to. So I think you will be having problems with the police because, I mean, maybe they gave away too much, but here it is. They go from vigilantes to heroes is one of the lines of, there it is. It says from vigilantes to heroes. I mean, well, probably you'll be dubbed as vigilantes for a bit, and then eventually you'll reach hero status. I think that's the development that the game actually does want you guys to, to progress through. So I know my last video I was a little frustrated because I couldn't really pinpoint the timeline, but I think I'm gaining a little bit more excitement now. I don't necessarily like to hype or show excitement, but this is really nice because the investigative work that, it takes to kind of get this done, which is actually easy. I mean, geez, it's not like I'm doing something really, really extraordinary. I'm just looking at some paperwork and looking at videos, but I think that's probably where the writers are going to find their strongest point because in that little timeline, they can do all kinds of fun stuff. And then once the Bat family reunites, just as the picture showcases here, the storyline showcases here in the 52 comics, I think they can then further the story down the road. But I think ideally that period where Batman is supposedly in this explosion all through when he reunites with the Bat family, I think this is where Gotham Knights is going to take place. This is my hypothesis. Could be wrong, but it looks a lot more likely than, any other hypothesis that I could give. But again, I'm scratching my head thinking, how are we going to deal with the Belfry and the Batcave? Because he says he blew up the Batcave, and then the Belfry is another thing which exists in another set of comics. So I need to retreat to the drawing board. Let's just put that at a 97% in terms of my certainty. So that 3%, if it becomes wrong, I can say I was wrong, and I can say I actually, called it. So thank you very much for your time and audience. I want to hear you guys' thoughts in the comment section. This is really interesting stuff. Share with me. What do you think? Do you think this is the timeline? Do you think there's another comic I need to go check out to see if I can pull together the timelines for when this game is going to be taking place or when some of the events are scheduled? And I'll be happy to check it out and, bring some more results back to you guys. Talk to you all in another video. Thank you very much. Peace out.